The story begins with a couple, Ashley and Carrie. They were driving along, singing together. They were on their way to Carrie's friend Paul's beach house. On the way, Carrie said, "It could be a nice place to make a baby." Ashley replied, "Maybe not yet, but in the meantime, we can do other stuff." So while Carrie was driving, they started doing other stuff. That's when a red car behind them began honking, frustrated at their slow speed. Moments later, that same red car swerved ahead and met with a brutal accident. The vehicle flipped over completely. Carrie and Ashley rushed out of their own car and ran toward it. Inside, a man was trapped by his seatbelt, while his wife had been thrown out of the car, and she was already dead. Ashley tried giving CPR, but when the police arrived, they confirmed it was no use. The woman was gone. This accident shook Ashley deeply. She said the dead woman must have so many regrets, so many things she would never get to do. Ashley whispered, "I just need to say it. I need to get out." Carrie stopped the car, thinking she meant get out of the vehicle. But Ashley clarified, "Not the car. Our marriage." She wanted a divorce. She confessed she had been unfaithful. She had cheated on Carrie. But Carrie, holding on desperately, said, "I forgive you. We're going to work this out." Ashley, however, was firm. She had even written a letter explaining everything. She wrote how they had been married for 14 months, but it felt like they were just existing. She didn't want that life anymore. She admitted she had only been with only 7 men in total. Devastated, Carrie stormed out of the car and started running. Through empty fields, along railroad tracks, through tall weeds, swamps, and even by the sea, until he finally reached his friend Paul's beach house. There, he told Paul and his wife Julie that Ashley wanted a divorce. But Ashley had already arrived there hours earlier. Carrie was shattered. He didn't want a divorce. Paul tried to calm him down, saying, "Don't worry. You don't even have kids. Look at us, we have money, child. We could never divorce." But Carrie broke down in the shower, crying uncontrollably. Paul walked in and said, "You married a life coach. What did you expect? And besides, do you really want to stay married to someone who doesn't want to be married to you?" Soon Julie joined in, telling Carrie that she and Paul were in an open relationship. They could do anything with anyone, as long as they were honest with each other. Shocked, Carrie asked, "Whose idea was this? You mean no matter what either of you do, it doesn't bother you?" Paul said calmly, "I don't care if you two do anything." Julie then quietly moved closer and sat down beside Carrie. The next day, their son Russ showed Carrie his aquarium. Later, a man arrived, accusing Russ of sinking his jet ski in the ocean. He sneered at Carrie, saying, "Your son needs a beating, and your wife needs to shut up." Hearing this, Carrie snapped and attacked the man. That's when Julie smashed a clay plate over the man's head, saving Carrie. That evening, Julie and Carrie started talking. Julie admitted Russ is exactly like Paul. She began giving Carrie pottery lessons. Julie confessed that they had come to the beach house to spend time together, but Paul always went back to the city. Whenever he left, he slept with other women. Julie pretended she was fine with it, but in truth, she felt lonely. As Carrie spilled some wine, the two began sharing stories about how they had first met their partners. But beneath those stories, both were hurting. Julie moved closer, gave Carrie an emotional hug, and then kissed him. Carrie nervously said, "I should make a sandwich." But he couldn't resist moving closer to her. The next day, Paul noticed a wine stain on his expensive $20,000 rug. Carrie admitted what had happened the previous night. Furious, Paul slapped him, saying it was just a reflex. When Carrie tried to calm him, Paul only grew angrier. The two started fighting like children. Paul demanded, "Did you guys do other stuff too?" They wrestled all through the kitchen, agreeing not to use knives. Furniture broke, tempers exploded. Paul fell down the stairs, which only enraged him more. In the chaos, they even smashed Russ's aquarium. Suddenly, both stopped fighting to rescue the fish. Together, they scooped them up and threw them into the bathtub. But the moment they finished, Paul shoved Carrie's face into the tub. He then lit a spray can on fire and burned off Carrie's eyebrows. Their fight raged outside, shattering glass, until they both jumped into the swimming pool. Still, they kept fighting in the water. When Julie and Russ returned, they found the two men still brawling. Finally, the three sat down together. Paul apologized for overreacting. Carrie apologized for hurting his best friend. Julie apologized for not realizing how much it would affect Paul. Paul insisted he still wanted to keep their relationship open, calling his anger nothing but an overreaction. But when Julie brought up their planned trip, Paul refused, saying he had work in the city. Julie, frustrated, lashed out at him. The next day, Carrie went on the trip with Julie and Russ instead. Julie even drew on fake eyebrows for Carrie. At the fair, Julie met another man who began flirting with her. He showed off his skills at a game, held her hand on the roller coaster, and was planning to do bumper cars together. But Carrie intervened. She's not doing bumper cars. She has a husband, and I know where bumper cars lead. Julie asked why Carrie was acting this way. He admitted, because you're my best friend's wife. Julie pressed, is this because of Paul, or is it because of you? Carrie confessed, when you sleep with someone, your body makes a commitment, whether you admit it or not. Since then, Carrie couldn't stop thinking about Julie. Julie gave him a gentle kiss on the cheek before walking away. The scene then shifts to Ashley, who was with another man. But just then, Carrie walked into the house. Julie looked at him and asked, "What are you doing here?" From upstairs, Ashley's boyfriend Jackson came down. Carrie and Jackson exchanged introductions, and surprisingly, Carrie acted completely calm. He even started making a sandwich for Jackson. That night, Carrie was about to sleep on the couch. Ashley thought he was hurt, which is why he was behaving this way. But Carrie explained, look, if you want to sleep with other people, we don't need a divorce for that. He then placed an open relationship deal in front of Ashley, saying there would be no rules. Ashley couldn't believe what she was hearing. That's when Carrie added, I've slept with someone too. We're even. In the days that followed, Ashley left Jackson and started dating a chiropractor named Feed. Meanwhile, Carrie made friends with Jackson. He even helped him put together his job resume. Soon after, Ashley broke up with Feed and began dating a yoga instructor. And Carrie didn't stop, he befriended both Jackson and Feed as well. Eventually, all of them were living together in the same house. Ashley asked Carrie to put an end to all of this. But Carrie simply said, they're my friends. Once again, Ashley changed boyfriends. But after breaking up with her, every one of them somehow became Carrie's friend. Around this time, Paul entered the picture again. Julie had kicked him out, so he needed a place to stay. Paul brought up the night when Julie and Carrie had slept together. That's when Ashley realized the truth that Carrie had been with Julie. It was something she never expected. Paul admitted, everything has become completely imbalanced. We need to find a way to restore balance. He even suggested doing the same with Ashley. But Ashley flatly refused. Paul then confessed he didn't really want that either. What he truly wanted was just to have his wife back. Meanwhile, all of Ashley's boyfriends had been listening to this conversation. The scene shifts to Julie. She was dropping Russ off at school, where Carrie happened to work as the gym teacher. Carrie told her, Paul is staying with me. That's when Julie revealed the truth. Paul had been completely over-leveraged in real estate. Everything had collapsed, and he had shut the company down just last week. Julie and Paul were about to lose everything. Carrie told Julie, at least talk to Paul once. But Julie refused. No, I won't talk to him. Tell him I don't believe a single word he says. Carrie stepped out of the car, but within a minute he returned and confessed to Julie, I've been thinking about you all the time. It was then revealed that even though Julie and Paul had been in an open relationship, Julie had never actually been with anyone else. Carrie was her first. The two hugged again, they kissed. Carrie jumped out of the car afterward, overjoyed. But from a distance, Paul had seen Carrie and Julie together. Later, when Carrie came home to take a shower, Ashley entered the bathroom to brush her teeth. She tried on a new dress and showed it to him. Carrie smiled and said, "It's perfect." Ashley, moved, decided to cancel her own plans just to spend time with Carrie. But Carrie already had other plans. Paul entered and asked, "So, did you talk to Julie?" Carrie replied, "Not yet." Carrie asked, "Did you do anything that would upset her?" Paul denied it, "No, nothing." Paul then asked, "Who are your plans with?" Carrie answered, "With a woman." Hearing this, both Ashley and Paul said they wanted to meet her. Meanwhile, Julie's car was towed away by the authorities. She arrived at Russ's school but still refused to talk to Paul. The reason was a troubling one. Russ had been pantsed by another boy. In retaliation, he tried to do the same back, but in the scuffle, the other boy's arm broke. Russ decided to change his college plans. College was expensive, and his parents were already fighting over money. He also knew Julie was consulting a lawyer about divorce, and that she had a new boyfriend. Russ had even seen New Balance sneakers in Julie's room. Hearing this, Carrie quickly hid his own sneakers. He reassured Russ, "It's okay. Just tell the truth in front of everyone." They went to the principal's office. The principal explained that the other boy claimed Russ had assaulted him during Carrie's PE class. Russ admitted, "I just wanted to pull his pants down because he did it to me first." But the principal said firmly, "We have a zero-tolerance policy here." This meant Russ would be expelled. To protect him, Carrie stepped in and said, "I was the one who told Russ to pull his pants down." The principal responded coldly, "Then you're fired." Carrie walked out with Russ. While behind them, Julie finally confronted Paul. She discovered that Paul had even taken out loans in their son's name, something that could destroy Russ's entire future. Julie was furious. On top of that, Paul was about to file for bankruptcy. He told her, "We'll need to be very careful with every step we take." But Julie had already learned the truth that Paul was being indicted. Paul asked her directly, "Are you sleeping with my best friend?" Julie didn't hesitate. "Yes." When Paul asked why, she said, "Because he's kind and trustworthy. But you put our son's future at risk." Right in front of Paul, Julie got into Carrie's car and left. Soon after, Paul was sent to prison. He had been there for quite some time when he finally received a visitor, Carrie. Carrie brought him a letter from Russ. Russ had no idea Paul was in jail. He thought his father was in Borneo, building a hotel. Meanwhile, back in town, process servers kept coming to Julie and Paul's home, but they never responded. Paul had still not signed the divorce papers Julie had sent. He had assumed his visitor would be Julie. He had even booked a private room, thinking she would come. Now Paul was filled with regret. He told Carrie, "I'm up for parole, and I need a residence." The story then shifts to Julie. Carrie was giving her a massage when she said, "I need to go drop Russ at school." Carrie gently said, "I think you'd make a great mom again." But Julie shook her head. She didn't want to become a mother again. Carrie held on to hope, waiting, thinking maybe she'd change her mind. Meanwhile, Russ made a protein shake and brought it outside to Paul, who was working out. Now, they were all living together under one roof. Julie focused on her pottery, creating pieces with her hands, while Carrie managed fulfillment. Paul even made Julie breakfast and finally signed the divorce papers. He told her, "We can work together to create a supportive and stable environment for Russ." Hearing this, Julie grew emotional. Paul quickly added, "I'll tear these papers up right now if you want." Julie stopped him. No, these are happy tears." Hearing this, Paul asked, "Can I bring my girlfriend to Russ's birthday?" Julie was stunned. She had no idea he even had a girlfriend. Paul went to Ashley. The two tried doing things together again, but Ashley hesitated. She told him, "This won't make Carrie jealous." Ashley suggested, "Instead of this, maybe we should just be honest and tell them everything." But Paul refused. He said, "You be honest, but I'll do whatever it takes to get my wife back." Ashley said, "Then let's do it." But suddenly, Paul backed out. Later, when Paul was finally ready, Ashley was the one who refused. The scene then shifts to Russ's birthday party. A mentalist was performing, but the kids were too young to enjoy his act. That mentalist, in fact, was Ashley's new boyfriend. Carrie's other so-called friends, or rather Ashley's exes, were also there helping with the party. Paul arrived with a dog as a gift for Russ. But what shocked everyone was the girlfriend he brought along. She looked exactly like Julie, even wearing the same dress. Meanwhile, Ashley tried talking to Carrie. When Carrie went upstairs, Ashley followed him. She began singing and dancing, trying to win him back. Singing softly, she said, "Don't let me go." Ashley pleaded, "You are so nice and sweet. I'm sorry I took you for granted." She was finally trying to be honest. But Carrie snapped, "You had all the time in the world to be honest when we were living with your stupid lovers." He revealed that he never liked any of them. He only befriended them to annoy Ashley. Ashley apologized for everything. But Carrie said firmly, "I live here now and I'm happy." Ashley asked, "Okay, but can we be friends? Can we be best friends?" She hugged him like a friend, but then tried to kiss him. Carrie stopped her, saying, "Friends can't do that." Elsewhere, Paul was with his fake girlfriend. Julie pulled him aside and asked, "You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? When are you going to stop?" Paul replied, "I won't stop. Ever." He admitted all his mistakes, but added, "I love you. I don't know how to love anyone else." Julie reminded him, "Paul, you had me, but you chose to sleep with other people." The truth was finally revealed. During their so-called open relationship, Paul had never actually been with anyone else. He only agreed to it because he was terrified of losing Julie. In his mind, Julie was beautiful and could find someone far better than him. So he thought if she ever did, the open relationship would give her one less reason to leave him. Hearing this, Julie moved closer to him. At that moment, Carrie came downstairs looking for Julie, and that's when he saw her in bed with Paul. A while later, Paul also came down. The mentalist, performing his act, read Ashley's mind and revealed to everyone that upstairs, she had cheated again, this time with Carrie. Julie overheard it. Now Carrie knew about Julie and Paul, and Julie knew about Carrie and Ashley. The truth was out, and Paul and Carrie broke into another fight. Ashley brought a new letter for Carrie, hoping he would read it. But Carrie refused. Ashley said, "I'm sorry I had to go on this whole journey just to realize that it's you." Suddenly, a fire broke out at the party. Paul rushed to put it out, but in the process, his eyebrows burned off. The next scene cuts to the hospital. Julie hugged Carrie and said, "I'm really happy for you." Meanwhile, Paul and Russ returned from outside carrying Susie. It was revealed that Ashley and Paul had become parents. They all then went to Paul's old beach house. But it was no longer his home. It had been turned into an Airbnb, which they had rented. Russ took the Airbnb owner's jet ski and rode it into the ocean. This sparked a fight between Paul, Carrie, and the owner. And with that, the story comes to an end. Tell us in the comments how you liked this explanation. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.